Good morning everyone, I am Priyanka Fulsounder, Assistant Professor IT Department, and today onwards we discuss about our next unit, that is database design and SQL. So in that first we discuss database design and functional dependency. First we discuss what is database design. It is the process of producing a detailed data model of a database that containing all the needed logical and physical design choices and the physical storage parameter needed to generate a design of this particular database. Database design is very important aspect. Why it is important? Because properly designed database provide you with access to up-to-date accurate information. Correct design is essential to achieve goals while working with a database. Investing the time required to learn the principle of good design is important. And it is very important to design the database in such a manner that it should be meet all our requirements and should be able to accommodate any changes easily. It means that the cost and time taken for the overall development can be reduced by good effective database design. By creating a good database model and following the correct processes, it is possible for the development to understand user requirement clearly and accurately. While designing any database, we have to go step by step. Now, the basic element of the database process, that is defining the problem or objective. This is the first step. This is the first step and important step of database design, in which we will address the problem or objective of the database. Now the second step is that researching the current database. In some cases, there may be some database already in existence. Such database may be in any format like written on papers, then spreadsheets, Word file, etc. Now the next step, that is designing the data structure. It is also important. A database system is always a set of tables, and the next step is to design the process is to identify and describe those data structure. Now fourth step, that is constructing database relationship. After creation of data structure, we have to establish relationship between the database. Now fifth step, that is implementing rules and constraint. Now as per the database and business requirements, some rules are set to restrict the data of insertion and modification to maintain data consistency. So implementing rules and constraint is also important. Now sixth step, that is creating database view and reports. In that, up till now the database design has completed. So we have to create view and reports to convert the data into useful information. And our final stage, that is implementing the design in software. This is the last and final step in which the correct design is implemented through the software on the computer. So this is the basic step regarding the database design, and it is also important. Also, there are two general design strategies. First one is top down, then bottom up, and centralized and decentralized design. Then there are two types of frameworks included in database design, such as system development lifecycle and database lifecycle. Now we discuss functional dependency. Before that, first we discuss why functional dependency is important. The determination of functional dependency is an important part of designing database in a relational model and in database normalization and denormalization. Okay, and the functional dependencies along with the attribute domain are selected to generate constraints that would exclude as much as data in appropriate manner, so the user domain from the system as possible. Because of this reason, functional dependency is important. Now we discuss what is functional dependency. It means that the attribute of a relation is said to be dependent on each other when an attribute of a table uniquely identify another attribute of same table This is called as functional dependency. If attribute A of a relation uniquely identify the attribute B of same relation, then it can be represented as A raised to B. It means that A belongs to B, which means attribute B is functionally dependent on attribute A. Now there are various types of functional dependencies, that is single value functional dependency, multi-value function dependency, fully functional dependency, partial functional dependency, transitive functional dependency, then non-trivial functional dependency and trivial function dependency. Okay, now we will discuss one by one. First one is single value functional dependency. The database is a collection of related information in which information depends on another information. It means that one information depends on another information, and the information is either single value or multi-value. For example, the name of the person or date of birth is single value facts, but the contact number of a person is a multi-valued attribute. A single value functional dependency is when A is a primary key of the relation. For example, see in this table, student ID and B is some single value attribute of the relation. For example, student name. This is student name. So, then in this case, A belongs to B must always holds by the relation. It means that student ID belongs to student name. For example, student ID 1002 and student name Anuja. Okay, for every student ID there should be a unique name. A belongs to B. Now we discuss the second type, that is multi-valued functional dependency. Multi-value functional dependency occurs when two attributes in a table are independent of each other but both depend on a third attribute. It means that a multi-value dependency consists of at least two attributes that are dependent on third attributes. That's why it always required at least three attributes. Now see in this example, name of particular author is determined by book ID attribute. It's determined by book ID attributes. It means that book ID belongs to author name. Also, it is possible to determine the price of book by book ID. Price of book with the help of book ID. Okay. But it is difficult to determine the price of book using author name. It is difficult to determine price of book using author name and other thing. So this dependency is called as multi-valued or functional dependency or simply multi-value dependency. Third type of functional dependency, that is fully functional dependency. It means that an attribute is fully functional dependent on another attribute. If it is functionally dependent on that attribute and not on any its proper subset, it means that fully functional dependency occurs only in a relation with composite primary key. Fully functional dependency occurs when one or more non-key attributes are depending on all the part of the composite primary key. Now see in this example, attribute grade is fully functionally dependent on primary key. Primary key, which is student ID and course ID. Why it is dependent? Because both part of primary keys are needed to determine the grade. Okay. On the other hand side, both student name and contact number, the student name and contact number attributes are not fully functionally dependent on the primary key. Why it is not fully functional dependent on primary key? Because only a part of primary key, namely that is student ID, is needed to determine both student name and contact number. Also, attribute credit hours and course name are not fully dependent on the primary key because only course ID is needed to determine their value. This is nothing but the fully functional dependency. Now the next type of functional dependency, that is partial functional dependency. It's occur when a non-prime attribute is functionally dependent on a part of candidate key. It means that only a relation with composite primary key. And partial functional dependency occur when one or more non-key attributes are depending on a part of the primary key. In partial functional dependency, the determinant, it means left hand side of functional dependency, consists of the key attribute but not the entire primary key, and the determinant, it means that right hand side of functional dependency, consists of non-key attributes. Now see, in partial functional dependency, second normal form, that is 2NF, eliminates the partial. It means that now what is second NF we discuss in our next lecture, that is normalization. Now see, in this example, to determine name of the student or contact number of the student, we can use only student ID attribute, which is a part of the primary key. So student ID belongs to student name and contact number. Now the next type of dependency, that is transitive dependency. When an indirect relationship causes functional dependency, it's called as transitive dependency. It means that functional dependency is said to be transitive if it is indirectly formed by using two functional dependency. So if P belongs to Q and Q belongs to R is true, then P belongs to R is a transitive dependency, and it is achieved 3NF, that is eliminate the transitive dependency. So see, in this example, if student course relation holds the following functional dependency, that is course ID belongs to student name and student name belongs to student age, then we can say that the relation is also holds the following dependency, that is course ID belongs to student age. Now we discuss next type of functional dependency, that is trivial functional dependency. The dependency of an attribute on a set of attributes is known as trivial functional dependency if the set of attributes contains the attribute itself. If the dependency in right hand side of functional dependency is a subset of left hand side functional dependency, and in functional dependency of the form A belongs to B is the trivial if B is a subset of A. The functional dependencies A and B belongs to A is trivial. In a relation, if attribute A is dependent on a set of attribute AB and also the attribute A is a subset of AB, then this functional dependency is said to be trivial. Now see, in this example, student ID and student name belongs to student ID is a trivial functional dependency as student ID is subset of student ID and student name. By knowing the value of ID and name of the student, it's possible to find value of student uniquely. And the functional dependencies, that is student ID belongs to student ID, student name belongs to student name. So this is also referred as trivial dependency. Okay. Now next we discuss non-trivial functional dependency. It is the inverse of trivial dependency. Functional dependency is said to be non-trivial if none of the attribute of right hand side of functional dependency are a part of the left hand side attributes. Functional dependency of the form A belongs to B is a non-trivial if value in B are not present in A. For example, B is not in subset of A. And non-trivial functional dependency can be categorized into two types. First one is complete non-trivial functional dependency and second one is semi-non-trivial functional dependency. Now what happens in complete non-trivial functional dependency? If none of the right hand side attribute of functional dependency are a part of the left hand side of attribute functional dependency. It means that, for example, student ID belongs to student name. It means value of the student name attribute are totally different from the value of student ID in any relation. Okay, and in semi non-trivial functional dependency, it means that if at least one of the right hand side attribute of functional dependency is not a part of the left hand side attribute functional dependency. For example, student ID, student name, in that belongs to student name and contact number. the value of contact number attribute are totally different from value of student ID, student name in a relation. So these are 7 types of functional dependencies are important.